Welcome to the Local Vibe podcast, unscripted, it's uncensored, the real deal straight up music talk. Please like and subscribe on YouTube and Facebook. This is dedicated to the local musicians of Denver, Colorado. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the show.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Local Vibe. I appreciate you guys. Those of you that are signing on YouTube, welcome back. We got another good episode here for you guys. All right. Well, it's Thursday night here, December 4th, I believe, if I got that right. And boy, oh boy, do I got a treat for you guys. We got a band here that's going to be in the show, in the studio here tonight, talking a little bit about their musicianship and their performance. These guys are some great guys, local as well, here to the Denver, Colorado area. Again, the Local Vibe is all about bringing local talent to YouTube on this podcast and talking about just, you know, our personal lives a little bit. We'll talk a little bit about how we grew up in music, how we started playing music, and all the kinds of stuff that you don't get to see when you're seeing these guys perform live, okay? And tonight we have the Vetras that are going to be here and going to be talking to those guys, and we are in for a treat for sure tonight. So, again, I said this before, and thank you very much for signing in. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow that Facebook page. That's going to help us out tremendously, and thank you very much. We got a great schedule over the next, 15 to 16 weeks. We're going to be bringing you great talent to the studio. So, that being said, unscripted, unfiltered, live, straight up music talk, straight from the heart. We're going to just talk about what comes to our mind and share that with all the listeners that are out there. So thank you very much. All right. So want to go to my sponsorship video. Want to thank Ernesto for sponsoring the Local Vibe. And my boy, he's got some great vehicles. Let's play that video, Michael, and share everybody with. All right, so Event Airport Transportation, LLC. Give my buddy a call, Ernesto. Tell him that Fast Eddie sent you. Check this out. He's got some beautiful vehicles up there. This guy's going to take you to your destination. If you're going to the ski resorts, if you're going to the airport, let's say you want to go to Red Rocks and go enjoy a concert and you want to go do some tailgating, call this guy up. He's going to take you there. He'll hang out with you guys, bring you home safely. You don't have to worry about driving. If you're going to the ski resorts, all that good stuff. He's got some beautiful vehicles. You can give him a call at 720-699-15775. This is Event and Airport Transportation, LLC. Again, thank you, Ernesto, for your sponsorship on that. All right. Okay, well, awesome. Well, I want to introduce my guests here tonight that I have in the studio for you guys. And like I said, I talked about the Vetras. These guys are local to the Denver Front Range area. And so let's kind of go around the room here, Michael. And I'm going to start with my left-hand side here with Ron. So, Ron, let's say hello.
Hello. Eddie, thank you again for having us, man.
Yeah, for sure, Ron. And then we also have the rest of the band here. I know we're missing one band member, but guys, we'll start with Brandon.
Hello. Well, thanks for having us again. And I'm Brandon. I came out here to Colorado like 6 years ago and found these guys eventually and been playing ever since.
Nice.
He's the new guy.
The new guy,
I'm the
right?
new young guy. They're old and
Nice.
So you have a good
Experienced.
There you go. Experience.
Mature.
You just bring the average age down.
Nice.
Slightly, just a little bit.
All right, Tony.
Yeah, how you doing? Glad to be here.
Yeah. Thank you, Tony. All right, and then last but not least, we have Sean there.
Yeah, thanks, Eddie. Sean, rhythm, sometimes sing, and excited to be here.
Nice. Appreciate it, guys. Yeah. Thank you very much. And so, yeah, like I said, these guys are local to the area. We're going to pull up a little bit of their Facebook information as well. You can find them on Facebook and probably got some videos on YouTube as well. Local Vibe is all about, getting some personal interviews. You go out and you see a band on stage and you see how they perform and musicianship is amazing, but sometimes you don't always get to hear a little bit about their backgrounds and that kind of stuff. And so with the Local Vibe, that's what we're going to do. We're going to interview folks, talk a little bit about, kind of where you grew up and your background, that kind of stuff. Okay. So let's get into what I like to call the juicy content here. And we'll start off with Ron, because Ron's on my left-hand side. And Ron, I believe you are the lead singer for Vetras. So I'm going to turn it over to Ron. And Ron, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe a little bit about your background and where you grew up, that kind of stuff.
Sure. I'm not originally from Colorado, but I was raised here. Air Force brat. My dad was in the Air Force, moved here when I was 4. Went through all my school here, went to college in Colorado Springs and Boulder, and I've been loving music for my whole life. Started playing bass in the 3rd grade. Kind of started focusing mostly on vocals when I got into young adulthood, and then I ran into these guys that were found through Nextdoor. I put out an ad 6 years ago and said, dad vocalists seeking dad musicians. And I heard from Tony, and I heard from Sean, and I heard from Glenn. We've had several different guitar players that come through, and Brandon's now been with us for a couple of years. And, really, things are starting to hit for us right now because we've got quite a few things planned in 2026. Nice.
Okay. And Ron, you said that was... So Nextdoor, is that like an app or is it just a website that you go to and you can put in?
It's an app that everybody has in their neighborhood, and it has different things that are going on in the community.
Oh, okay. Yep. I know what you're talking about.
Every neighborhood seems to have it.
Right.
So I just posted it out there, and surprisingly, there was a lot of dad musicians that were wanting to play. And then it turns out that there's a military connection with several of us. And even if they weren't in the military, family members that were in the military, and we wanted to do something to kind of play off of that. And we came up with, actually our bass player came up with the name Vetras, which stands for Veteran Rock Asylum.
Nice.
We have members from, Tony is in the Army, and our bass player Glenn, he's in the Marine Corps, and then I was in the Navy for 10 years. So Sean's father was a Vietnam veteran, and Brandon's grandfather was Army, World War II, I believe.
Correct.
So it was a good way for us to actually come up with an idea of something that was going to work locally, because as a band, it's difficult to try to get gigs.
Right.
And that's one of the things I appreciate you just having cover bands on here. We could talk about our experiences, but when I started making contact with different venues and they found out that we're military members and do classic rock from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, into 2000s, they were ready to book us. So, we played together for a couple of years, I think it was, before we even talked about doing gigs. And then next thing you know, we had 1, 2, 3. I think at one point we had 14 in front of us, which was pretty cool. So, now we finally are at a position where we have local bars that are wanting to book us for the whole year, which is cool.
Very nice. Yeah, man, that's a great name. We'll just give it up for these guys being veterans and everything. Awesome. I always say that, we tend to always appreciate the veterans and appreciate the American flag and and just everything that these guys do for us. So it's amazing. And why wouldn't any bar hire you guys, right? Bring you in just with that symbol as well. And if you noticed, I love the logo. As I was putting together the content, Ron, I always go back and I look at, okay, let me take a look at the Facebook and I'm going to add this. And my gosh, it's an amazing logo there. It's very patriotic and awesome. So thank you guys for that.
Thanks, brother.
Super. Yeah. All right, let's go over to Brandon. Brandon, tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of what your background is.
Well, I'm from Balmore Hunt on the East Coast. Came out here right as the pandemic was starting. All my friends and family said, "Don't go out there; it's stupid." And me being me, I was like, "Great time to go." And I originally, when I came here, I landed in Colorado Springs, played with some guys down there, and eventually I moved up here. And I think I found these guys through Bandmix. Is that right, Ron? Is that
Yep,
how
I got you through Band Mix.
Right. And I remember like getting an email back from Ron. He was like, "Yeah, just come to a practice, pick like 3 or 4 songs." And I was like, "Okay, I can't mess this up." So
Yeah. Brandon, if you could put the microphone a little bit closer to you, you can just turn
Is
it
this
around.
better?
There you go. Yeah, much better there.
I don't want to be too close.
No, you're good. Yeah, you're good. That sounds great.
But yeah, so I remember like going to the practice, and it was like in a basement, somewhat similar to this, and it's a bunch of grown men there, and I was like, it's somewhat awkward. But started playing with them. I think we gelled pretty well, and they eventually got me in the band, and it's been an honor to play with these guys, and especially as people who've served this country. It's been a big honor, and it's been a big privilege and a lot of fun.
Yeah. No, for sure, man. That's right. Yeah. And Brandon, are you playing rhythm or are you playing lead?
Oh, that's right. What do I play? I play lead guitar most of the time. Sometimes I'll play a little bit rhythm, but that's mainly Sean's job, and he does a great job. But I think like, especially as guitar players, especially with like some songs, it's like no one's really rhythm and no one's really lead all the time. Like we're always kind of going back and forth at some point, and that interplay with especially another guitar players is that's what I live for. And these guys have been playing longer than me, and it was a really cool thing to be a part of a band where you can show up to practice and people know their parts. I'd say for the most part people come prepared for practice. I mean, we're not perfect, we make mistakes, everyone does, but I've been in many bands before where you show up to practice and it's just been a waste of time. So I really appreciate that about this band, and we have a blast on stage.
Nice. Yeah. No, I tell you what, and that's that's the honest truth, Brandon. I think it's it's always good to kind of go back and forth a little bit. It just kind of helps break the monotony up a little bit as guitar players, and we do the same thing. And the cover band that I play with is we'll switch back and forth, and I'll play some lead and play some rhythm, and it just helps things a whole bunch.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're absolutely right. It's always a successful rehearsal when everybody's kind of done their own homework. On their own time, I said this in my last podcast if you haven't heard it, but we get pretty spoiled with basements here, and I love that. Yeah, I'm originally from South Texas, where we don't have basements, but here we do have basements. So hey, we get no excuse, man. We gotta practice and rehearse, So,
yeah, I mean, you got to practice your craft.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, practice your craft, and and then that when you go to rehearsal, you're not wasting people's time. Everybody gets together, and it's not going to be perfect. There's always going to be a little things here and there. And you know what? That's fine. That makes us real live musicians, That's what I believe.
Eddie, one of the things that I always say is that when we do rehearse, and it's not perfect, but every song that we cover was done by professional musicians.
Right.
So the fact that we are able to dial it in as the way we are and perform it on stage, that says something about the effort that we put into this.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it sure does. Yeah, we were just talking about that, right before we got on the show, Ron. And again, as this podcast is dedicated to all the local musicians out there. So those of you guys that are out there listening, this is dedicated to you. And even as cover bands, original bands, solo artists, everybody has their own fingerprints, right? We're all playing music. We love to play guitar, drums, whatever it may be. But everybody plays it in a different way. It's their own personal way to do that. And even when you take a cover song, you're playing it in your own way. As you guys as a band, you're playing that cover song the way you like. And then you tweak it and you do this and you do that. And it's not going to be the same when you go see another cover band. And that's fine. That's the way it should be, right? Those covers are going to come out the way you guys put it together, And even some of the greatest bands that are out there today still play covers of their other songs,
Yeah, and one of the things that Brandon was talking about with practicing, everybody's practicing their part. And then when we come into rehearsal and we put it together, I mean, that really makes it easier to work on timing or work on, a little little hitch here that makes it ours. So I think that's that practicing. There's a difference between practicing and rehearsing. I think we all do practice on our own, and then we all rehearse together. But yeah, I mean, it makes such a difference. I think when we do play.
I think a big thing, like for me, especially being young, like I've been practicing like by myself to Spotify or to a tape track for hours in a room, and everyone sees you on stage, and that is the fun part on stage. But they don't see you in a room trying to figure out how's this going to work once we bring in all the different players, and it's completely different when you're practicing by yourself and with other people. And I think that's the great thing about being a musician is the dynamic to grow is always when you're playing with other people usually.
And playing with other people makes you better
Yeah, exactly.
because you have to navigate situations that happen on the stage, and you never know what that's going to be. But every time you do and you recover from it, it makes you a better musician.
Yeah.
Great.
All right, Tony, let's hear from you, Tony. Let's go to the other C, Michael, the 3C.
Yeah, so I was actually born here, but my dad was Air Force, moved around a lot, and didn't come back here until I was in my late 30s. So been here for 21 years now, and didn't start playing drums until I got my first kid at 40 years old, but didn't take it seriously until maybe 7 years ago. Just played in my basement.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
Yeah, there you go. See, this is when we do the podcast, it's like I said, we
Playing for
get
like 30 years.
a little personal here.
no, I this is only the second band I've ever been in.
Oh,
you
wow.
know? And the first band, I was very green, and I had a lot of struggles and just kept trying to get better. And
You need the struggles.
You
need the
do.
struggles.
You do.
That's what makes you grow.
That's
yeah,
right.
My
You
very
learn
first
from that.
gig, I was nervous as hell. It was very strange.
Yeah, Tony. And then I think I might have met you, I believe, through Flash Jam, right? You did a little bit of
Correct.
Flash Jam as well.
Yeah, you were on the first song I ever did with Flash Jam.
Nice. Very cool. All right. And then we have, last but not least, Sean.
Yeah. So Sean, I do, like I said, I'm rhythm guitar player. I'm mostly rhythm. Brandon saying we switch off with leads. Has been
But he's
very,
really rhythm.
very
That's what he
gracious.
says.
But yeah, so there's a lot of Air Force connections. I'm another one of those. My dad was in the Air Force.
My dad too.
Yeah, and then my grandfather was in the Army Air Corps before joining the Air Force, before it flipped over to the Air Force.
Same thing.
So I grew up, as a brat. We, every 4 or 6 years we moved around. I think one of the things for me, I started playing piano when I was really young, and played and we moved around, and actually went to high school in Northern Virginia. Well, one of my high schools. I went to high school in Oklahoma for a couple of years, and then moved to Northern Virginia to finish out. And I wanted to keep playing because there was such a big music community just in the high school that I was at. And when I was like trying to tell my dad, hey, I'm taking guitar as a course in school, and not so much that he was dead set on me continuing, like getting back to playing piano or anything, but somebody made the argument, it's like, yeah, guitar is going to be easier because when it's time to pick up and move or to do something, it's easier to just pick up a guitar and go somewhere instead of going with trying to move a piano. And so I think that's what sold him. So
You just don't
good
have
reasoning.
vision.
yeah, I know.
2,000-pound piano.
Right. And but actually, yeah. So when I first started playing guitar back in high school, my guitar teacher is still. He's still teaching. He's actually a Grammy nominated guitar instructor. So shout out to Mr. McCarthy. And
I want his number.
yeah, I'll hook you up. And but it's just one of those things. I think probably the best lesson that I took away from the 2 years that I took guitar from him was I don't think I've ever looked at my guitar and had that moment of I got to pick up my guitar and practice. My wife would tell you that there's a lot of times it's actually the other way around. It's like, hey, we got to go, we got to leave. Would you put the guitar down so we can actually get on with what we're supposed to be doing? But yeah, and going back to what Brandon said too, I was a bedroom musician for years. I mean, when everybody else was gone, I'd sit on the end of the bed and pull up. I still have the acoustic guitar that my dad bought me in 1987, and it just I've kept that playing ever since. And then my wife said, "Hey, it's time. There's enough people out there playing. You should do something." So I think that's ultimately then what prompted. Because I had posted something about guitar playing or guitar players on the Nextdoor app and on a Facebook post somewhere too, and then I think somebody directed me to Ron's post. I'm like, oh hey, this may work out, and so that's luckily how I got connected with these guys. So
Nice.
My wife made me answer. Actually, she answered the ad. I think she was trying
Of course
to
she
get me out
did.
of the house.
Thanks, Gene.
yeah,
This is what we deal with
oh
now.
Gene,
I think Glenn's wife answered for him too,
yeah, that's right.
Nice.
Yeah.
You're gonna go play with this band.
and you will like it.
You would like it.
There's a theme here though, because the two military guys, their wives answer, but the two non-military guys, they answered on their own.
Nice. Oh, awesome, guys. Well, thank you for that brief introduction. Yeah, I appreciate that. And again, what a great group of guys. If you guys haven't had a chance to go see these guys, go check them out. We'll take a look at the Facebook page here in a few minutes as well and talk about some upcoming gigs. But, another thing that I always like to ask folks, and we'll start with Ron as well here, but, everybody has some inspirations, right? We love all kinds of different types of music. And, as I'm meeting more people and bringing more people into the studio and bringing them to the podcast, you get to learn a little bit about everybody's background and what they like. So Ron, that question goes to you before we go to the other guys is, what were your music inspirations as you were growing up and, performing music? Who were your inspirations?
Well, that's a wide category for me for sure, because anything from the classic rock growing up through high school, Aerosmith, Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, all of that was a big influence on me. But I also liked a lot of hip hop stuff that was going out in the high school time frame. Run DMC, the Beastie Boys, I loved all of that, and I was a huge Prince fan. So pretty much everything that Prince was putting out at the time, I absolutely loved. And then as I got older, I really started getting into a lot of the Southern rock, Black Crowes, which is a band that I've probably seen live, 10 times.
Nice.
Just recently saw them in Vail this summer. Just a great live band. I love that Southern rock stuff, which was kind of the initial inspiration for Vetras. We were doing a lot of the Southern rock, Marshall Tucker band, that kind of stuff.
What happened to that? Where did that go?
Yeah, we did, right? Sean,
Marshall
remember
Tucker,
that?
what?
We only
Remember
had
that?
one.
You're
Marshall
speaking my
Tucker.
language.
Yeah.
Marshall Tucker, then we had
We did we did
you see?
Melissa and Soul Shine.
Soul Shine, yep.
Melissa by Allman Brothers.
Yep.
Came in at the wrong time.
Yep, that's right.
But it just kind of migrated into stuff that we felt as if that was going to work when we started gigging, songs that people were going to recognize, and that's still kind of the mantra of what we try to do is play stuff that people are going to know. We all like our deep cuts, but when you're in a cover band, you got to play music that's going to get people, as they say, out of the seat, dancing, drinking.
Yeah, bring some energy, right? Bring some energy to it, and they're out there to have dinner, have a couple of drinks, whatever it is, and get them on the dance floor. We're not going to judge how you dance. Just get out there and
Just go have some fun.
go have some fun.
Wait,
That's right.
you don't judge?
No,
Oh, okay. We got to talk about that.
all kinds of
Sean, are you
different
dancing? Or
different
No,
dances.
no, I'm like watching the
I think,
people. I mean,
I think he's got to pee.
Nice.
Moving around a lot.
Very cool. Yeah. And Ron, you mentioned some great bands, right? And again, everybody also grows up in a different time frame, right? You're getting out of high school, or if you're in junior high, and so everybody's background's a little bit different as well in the music that you listen to. But one thing that I always tell folks too, and I was talking to Jim on my previous podcast, is like every once in a while you wander off to a different genre. And if you guys haven't done that before, just put some headphones on, you're getting ready to go to bed, wander off to a different genre. And I tell you what that does to your mind. It stimulates your mind, and you start thinking about, all these different pieces. Because again, it's all music, right? Rock and pop music, are essentially kind of the same. But it creates a different side of creativity in your brain, and you get back. I know that works for me, right? So I'm just saying as something that I've done personally, and just opens up different doors.
Yeah,
you
we
know?
definitely have done some one-offs. I mean, we do some Johnny Cash.
Right.
So Folsom Prison Blues, I mean, I think we all love it. And again, I think every time we play it, people really seem to respond to it.
Yeah, and they recognize it. It's one of those songs that people love, right? And they're out there to have a good time. They enjoy it. And
Exactly.
yeah, nice. All right, Brandon. What about you, Brandon? What were some of your inspirations?
Well, I mean, similar to like Ron, I mean, I fell in love with classic rock at probably an earlier age than most people. I just got like my Spotify Wrapped thing. Sorry about that. And I'm like part of a 3% of the population that listens to the music that I listen to. So,
Oh yeah, as a matter of fact, I just
You know
seen
what I'm
that
talking
pop up.
yeah, I have screenshots. For
Nice.
proof. But like, right now, I'm actually listening to more country. Like, I love this guy out of West Virginia, Charles Wesley Godwin. If any of you have heard of him, Chris Stapleton, people know him. Tyler Childers, kind of that like, I call it like Appalachian rock. That's what it
Like new
sounds to me.
rockabilly kind of.
New rock. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
But like these singers and like the bands they're playing with are just amazing. You're like, holy crap. But like at the same time, I'm going home and I'm watching The Last Traffic Jam, with Steve Winwood and, one of his last performances with that
with
outfit.
Traffic.
And it's just on fire. It's very relaxed. Like they talk about forming the band and they really were just out there to jam and have fun and became one of the most successful rock bands of the 60s. And their percussion section is just on fire. So, but I'm like all for the newer blues guys who are going to carry the torch, like Derek Trucks, Warren Haynes, Joe Bonamassa, Marcus King. Like these are players that are on a different planet, and you see them play live. And if you have the rare chance to see them together, like as a guitar player, there's nothing better. It's just like, oh, that's how it's supposed to be.
Wow.
So
Brandon's the youngest guy in the band, but he's got the oldest soul.
I'm a very
Nice.
old soul.
Very
I don't
nice.
really know what EDM is. I don't know who this
Join the
bunny
club.
guy is on the Super Bowl. I don't know any of this, so I live my own world. But I'm happy in this world, and I like music that has soul and that's played by real musicians. So
Nice.
Nothing about the Rolling Stones, huh?
I love them too, man. I could go on and on for them. I asked like a lot of people, like Beatles or Stones, and everyone usually says the Beatles. But that's an argument for another time. But they each have their
Right.
strengths and weaknesses. I personally think Rolling Stones had a lot more soul, but that's an opinion.
Sure. Okay.
They've certainly lasted longer than the Beatles.
Sure.
The Beatles were only together for
Those guys
7,
are
8 years.
yeah,
Still
I mean,
performing, right? It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many good guitar players I feel, and musicians in general that just the mainstream isn't aware of, and you kind of have to be ushered into it by a certain community, whether it's musicians or you have a friend who's in that scene. And I was lucky; I went to a very like liberal artsy college in New Jersey, and this was back when people were sharing their iTunes, and you could share the libraries with people.
Yeah.
And like Napster was a thing. I was like, you can download any song you want. Like, and I lived out in the country with my parents. We had like a slow landline connection, so we never had fast internet. So when I went to college, I broke the internet connection on my floor just downloading all this stuff. But I learned a lot of good music actually in college through other people, and that's my point. Like I think John Mayer said like good music needs someone to usher you into it and let you even be aware of it.
Right.
So.
I'd agree with that.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Brandon. Yep. Tony, let's go to you. What about Tony? What about your inspirations? And Tony, you play drums for Vetras,
I do
right?
play drums, yes. So I'm the youngest of 5, so I have, obviously 4 older siblings, and a lot of my musical taste is because of them. When I was 6, 7, maybe years old and living in Plattsburgh, New York, the first music I really remember hearing was Band on the Run by Paul McCartney, Inagata Vita by Iron Butterfly, because my oldest brother would listen to that. And then we moved to Panama, and I was sharing a room with another brother, and every morning he'd get up and he'd put 2112 on the record player. And so
like
that
that
got me
brother.
in, that was my exposure to Rush, and became a lifelong Rush fan. And through him I also learned about Iron Maiden and Scorpions and Zeppelin, and then through the same oldest brother, I got into Frank Zappa, so that led me down the whole weird music rabbit hole, like Zappa and Primus and bands like that, to where some of that I found on my own, but once you get a taste for Zappa, there's a whole lot of other stuff that'll appeal to you. So, and then, it's weird because I have everything from Jim Croce to Sepultura on my phone, because I like so much different stuff.
I could speak to that. This guy knows like some weird stuff, like you would never know he was into until you ask him. It's very strange.
You're like, yes, I can test right here.
And if none of you have ever heard of them, check out Asylum Street Spankers.
Okay.
Amazing
Nobody's heard
band.
of that.
Great band.
Check them out.
Yeah. No, and that's just it, right? Like, again, everybody has their, their favorite type of genre that you go to. But again, sometimes you got to step out of the boundaries a little bit and go listen to something else. Maybe it's some heavy metal, or maybe it's R&B, or maybe it's some hip, whatever it is, right? But it does something, I think, and I believe that to your creativity, and we're talking about, Chris Stapleton. I learned, believe it or not, a lot of the scales because I would hear the way he was playing it, and got you intrigued to kind of learn, the D minor and the A minor. And so again, maybe it's a 2-minute video or 5-minute video that you watched, but then that inspired something in your mind to go and do it, right? And practice it. So for sure. Absolutely. All right. Well, awesome. All right. And then Sean, how about you?
Yeah, well, growing up, like I mentioned before, being a Air Force brat and moving around, I think it was kind of cool because music was one of the few constants, I had growing up. And quite honestly, growing up, my dad would play a lot of Buddy Holly. I learned a lot of Benny King, Righteous Brothers, when I was growing up and hearing that. And so there was always kind of a musical, at least foundation. There was a lot of Elvis too, but I can only take Elvis in small doses.
Put on my blue suede shoes.
Yeah, exactly. And but like Tony, my older brother introduced me to Rush. I don't think he meant to, but it was kind of coming through the walls. Rush is
He
best.
likes it so much, everybody was going to listen
Everybody
to it.
listen. Yeah, when my neighbors like it. Yeah, my neighbors don't have a choice. But yeah, that was one of those things. You hear the music, and so I also am a lifelong Rush fan. I think my a moment for me then was watching the '83 US Festival, not live, but I think it was either on MTV or whatever. And then that's when I knew the band Triumph before. Tony will say they're the one that they're my kind of go-to band. Yeah. But that was a band that, like, when I had heard them before, but then when I saw that performance live at the US Festival, it was just like holy smokes! It's like I want to do that. And of course, I was never aspired to be that good, but Rick Emmett and Triumph were kind of the ones that got me, like, with that like little bug in the back of your head saying, I want to play guitar and do that. But as I've moved on, I mean, again, there's the Southern rock component. I talked about Warren Haynes before. I'm a big Government Mule fan. I think I've seen them maybe 24 times here and there at different venues. I mean, I saw them once in upstate New York at a really small private party that I wasn't actually even supposed to be there. I knew the guy who worked at the restaurant, and so I poked my head in, and we watched them. And what was really cool is about maybe 8-10 years later, they were here in Denver. They were at that Twist and Shout, and they had like a meet and greet kind of thing. And and I went and talked to him and told him, I was like, man, I saw you guys at this place. It was like, all the little time, there was only like 50 people there. And Warren Haynes stopped. He like leans back to Matt Apps and he says, hey, do you remember? And all of a sudden, even though there were still like 200 people in line waiting to meet them, the three of us were talking about this show that there was maybe like 50 people at. And it was a birthday party. And they were, how did it sound? And how was this? And asking me all these questions. And I think that was a moment of like, these are real people. I mean, they were really gracious to take the time to talk to me about, like I said, a show that there were less people than were behind me in line waiting to see them. And I think that was just one of those things. It's like, I had this kind of idolatry of these musicians, that I've grown up with. It's like, but they're like real people and they talk and they want interaction as well. And so I thought that was really cool. And I think that's one of the things that I always wanted to make sure that when I played, I always wanted to make it to where, hey, if I was playing somewhere and somebody wanted to talk, just talk to them because it's that.
Are
bug.
you approachable?
Yeah. Some my size, 6'2", 250. Some people, are intimidated, but no.
Well, that's just the power of music. Like, it doesn't matter how famous you are or not,
Yeah, but I mean,
same struggles.
Yeah, but it's the germ, right? I mean, it's that little thing that like, have you heard this band? Or have you heard that thing? And all of a sudden we're, and like we end up in the basement on a podcast, but we're talking about these musicians that we all listen to, and like that one little thing. It used to drive my wife crazy when we'd be driving somewhere. I'm like, oh wait, listen to this one part. Like listen to this one thing. Listen to what he does here. And she's like, how do you hear that stuff?
Yeah, her and Gene could probably share a lot of stories because I bugged the hell out of Gene with, this guy played with this band and then he went on to this. Yeah.
Women love that.
They do. They love when we share that with them.
Especially these days.
I really lucked out by keeping my mouth shut at the right time, and then it wasn't until, okay, now we're committed. Hey, did I tell you about this guy?
She even had it in the vow she wrote about she would, promise not to have her eyes roll back in her head when I would talk about, who played in what band. So trust me.
Yes. We all can relate to that because we probably all done that before, and I bet you all our wives would be saying the same thing. You're like, I don't know what he was talking about,
but I mean,
sure.
But talking about meeting somebody, so I went to Winter NAMM in January of 2020 and met Frankie Benali, the drummer for Quiet Riot, and he's since passed. But I was telling him you were the first metal show I ever saw back in Philadelphia in 1983. He goes, oh yeah, that was the Spectrum playing with Black Sabbath, right? And I'm like, exactly. He remembered the show. I mean, he didn't remember me, obviously, but he remembered the show. He remembered who he was playing with. It was pretty cool to me.
Nice.
And Eddie, you brought up Flash Jam before. We're talking about that kind of like like the musical germ and being up and playing with different people. And you can have one song, but you have it. If you have this bass player who plays this way, or you have that, this bass player who plays that way. It changes the conversation almost that the music has provides in a way. I mean, it's not necessarily better or worse, but you play this with different musicians. Hey, I play this in my band. I'm going to go up and I'm going to play a Flash Jam with 4, 5, 6 other people I've never played with before, and the entire flavor of the song may change. It's kind of these cool conversations that you can hear time and time again, but by having different bands play it, different band members play it, it changes the conversation a little bit. Kind of keeps it exciting. So it's always kind of cool.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And again, I think to me that's that's our fingerprints, right? Everybody's got different fingerprints. We all have the fingers, and we can put them on the instruments, but the way we touch it, the way we play it, and the way we play those octaves is going to be a little bit different. And I think that's what we're talking about. We hear the difference, And again, not good or bad, it's going to be different from. Yeah, for sure. Which is awesome. That's about bouncing that live feeling off of people. When you're in the middle of a song, even us as established cover bands, and we may play the same song 20 times, and we know it's so good. But I don't know about you guys, but every time I go and I play that song, it comes out a little bit different than the last time, because you add a extra little piece to it,
And the audience makes it different, because I think the best, probably one of the best gigs we ever had, the audience really was, we were getting so much feedback and so much positive energy from the audience that it was just an amazing gig. It was at Greenfields.
Greenfields, I
that
agree.
was-
That was really
That
good.
was, if every show could be like that,
Right.
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, and this goes out to everybody who's listening right now on the YouTube channel. Like, if you're out there looking at a band, like, my gosh, that means so much to us as we're on stage, and because we could feel that energy from the audience when people are up there dancing and they're
Singing along.
Yes, right. They're singing along. It makes a huge difference. Makes a
And we've
huge
been on the other
difference for all of
side, by the way. We played gigs, and after like a song, there's just been dead silence before. Like when we were first starting out, I was like, "Oh, I don't know if it's a venue, but like it coaches you like, all right, maybe I should up my game a little bit,
Right,
you know,
right.
so.
Yeah, a little challenge, right? A little challenge to it for sure. Well, awesome, guys. Well, thank you. Yeah, it's great to hear our stories, and kind of our inspirations, because again, everybody's got some different inspirations as we grow up and who we're listening to. But another question that I always like to ask people that come here to the studio is, what instruments do you play? Are there any instruments that you play, and what are those? Or is it multiple instruments? Is it one? Is it one that you like more than the other? Or maybe it's something that you want to learn how to play. Is there anything that's out there? So we'll start with Ron. Ron, is there anything that you play?
More cowbell.
Nice. More cowbell, yes.
No, like I said, I started off playing the bass in the third grade, mostly because I had big fingers, and my teacher said, "I bet you'd be a good bass player." Okay. So I played bass through elementary school, through high school, and then after, once I got into college and I started getting into different bands, I started focusing just on being the best vocalist that I could be. So that's kind of what my transition is. So whenever we do need cowbell, and if Tony doesn't have his, I'll play that. Tambourine, that type of stuff.
This is news to me. I didn't even know this. Bro.
Nice.
Gotta bring the cow.
But I leave the music part to these guys over there.
Slide whistle, kazoo.
Bring the slide whistle next gig.
Yeah.
The maracas,
The maracas, right? Or the Ouida. Anybody heard of the Ouida?
the vibra slap.
Yep, there you go. Well, and for those of us that are out there, and again, vocal is an instrument. If you hadn't heard that before, vocalist is your instrument, and you put all your heart and soul into that. And we were just talking about that earlier, that sometimes it's tough with one solo vocalist, right? Because again, you can get tired, and sometimes these musicians, my gosh, when they're out there playing gig after gig, we love to go see them, but gosh, can you imagine being on a tour, right, and having to do all those gigs?
But they have people that do everything else for them.
Right, yeah. It helps take care of that stuff.
I do remember I saw Kill Switch Engage. It was a 5-band thing, Jägermeister tour, Lamb of God, and I believe Slayer. But Kill Switch Engage was doing their own, breaking their gear down after their set. So at that point, they did not have roadies. It seemed.
Real musicians.
Yeah.
Do it. That's what we do, right? We do all the work.
That's what the local guys do.
That's what the local guy. That's right. Here at the
Working
local
class
vibe,
guys.
we have to pack our own stuff in. We pack our own amps, And then when you become a gigging musician, you're gigging a lot. Then you're like, that little small 50 amp that only weighs 20 pounds sounds pretty good about right now.
Yeah, people don't realize that we get there 2 hours before the gig just to set up.
That's right. Yes, it takes some setup time to get everything mic checked. Bring all your gear, set it up the way you want. Play a song and get everything set, all the levels, So it's a lot of work for sure. Yeah. All right, Brandon, how about you, Brandon? What instruments are you playing these days?
Really just guitar. I think I took a piano lesson or two, and when I was young, God bless my parents, let me play that guitar so loud in the basement. And then at one point I was like, I want to take a piano lesson. And thank you, Mom and Dad, if you're watching this.
Yeah.
They probably aren't, but thank you. And so I took 2 or 3 piano lessons, and the first thing out of my mouth was I want to learn Elton John. And the guy's like, well, you have to learn the basics first, you can't just get up on
just
the
Elton John.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, well, I'll just learn through the song.
Just teach me how to play Madman Across the Water. And,
So that didn't work out. And then I went through a lot of guitar teachers in that same format. And I finally found one where like I learned most of what I know now. Well, half songs. And I found a guy who, he taught me like the minor pentatonic scales in the different positions in a way that I could understand it. And he basically did it through tabs. So I didn't have to read music. So it was great. And those shapes are basically what bands hire me for now. So just got to keep playing. Just get started at a young age. That's a huge advantage.
Right.
And if you have lessons, I mean, and stick with it, I think you'll be in a really good spot when you get older.
Nice. Yeah. We forget sometimes that when you're learning an instrument, you're like, oh, wait, do I have to play the scales? Do I have to learn the tabs? Do I have to learn, and it's all part of it. It's all part of it as and the more you start to evolve, the more you pick that stuff up, right? I think A minor pentatonic is one where a lot of guitar players, they learn that first, right? That's kind of one of the easy ones to
You
learn.
have to know that if you're going to play lead at some point.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Minor pentatonic and all the keys, right?
It's in so many songs that people don't realize, right? So many songs.
It's like all of rock and roll.
Yep.
From a guitar standpoint.
Yep. All right, let's go over to Tony. Tony, and what about instruments for you, Tony?
I tried to learn bass, but notes drive me crazy, so I play drums. So I don't have to worry about what note goes with what note.
Nice.
And circle of fifths and what key. Drummers don't play in key generally unless you're Terry Bozzio. So I play drums and I sing in the car.
Very cool.
We're on fire tonight, gentlemen.
Perfect.
We'll be here all night.
That was pretty good timing.
All right, Sean, what about you?
Yeah. Well, and basically for me, it all starts on an acoustic guitar. I think just about everything that I play, learning, it's playing on an acoustic, and then I can start getting in. But really, right now, it's just guitar. Again, acoustic, and then performance mostly on electric. My wife and I bought a piano a number of years ago. So it's sitting there. It's in the same room that I have my my office in. So it kind of bugs me that it's sitting there. But I do take heart in the fact that one of my sons started taking lessons and started playing, and he progressed really quickly. So
he needs to be in the band instead.
So yeah, no. So he needs to. He'll when he's done with his school, and he'll come and maybe play keys. But yeah, I also sing in the car, and my daughter sings in a lot of choirs and stuff like that, and so she sang through high school, and she's done a bunch of different projects. And I just remember one time. This is before I started singing at some of the Flash Jams. We were singing, and there was this one. I don't even know what song it was, but there's this one note that just carried for a long time. And I'm just driving and going, and then we pull up to a stoplight, and I recognize that she's just like staring at me, like, why aren't you singing? I am singing. She's like, no, like not in the car. So.
Is that why we did a $30 room?
Yeah. That might have been it. But Tony and I, Glenn and Mike Sudam and who was there? Anybody else, or was it just us? We did a Dave Alvin tune.
Was Jim Mann playing keys on that one?
Oh yeah, Jim Mann played keys on that one. So yeah, we did a Dave Alvin and the Guilty Men $30 room, which was. It was just one of those songs like, hey, you know what? Let's put together a thing and go. And
I told you that my wife's aunt knows Dave Alvin. Right?
Yeah, that was really cool. That's why I made sure I mentioned the podcast. So if it gets shared and then it gets to him, then he can go back. He's like, oh man, these guys did my song.
Exactly.
Good thing you mentioned it. Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. But yeah, just guitar and singing.
Very cool. Very cool.
Long way to get to a short answer.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. All right. Well, awesome. Well, great guys. That's awesome to hear. And let's go to the full screen there, Michael, and let's go over to their Facebook page and show that. And that way, maybe Ron, if you can kind of walk us through a little bit of your Facebook page there, and see if there's maybe there's a couple videos or something like that we could kind of glance through.
I'm going to defer to Sean.
Okay. Yeah.
He's our Facebook guy.
Uh-oh. Pressure's on. Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily the most curated Facebook page. Luckily, Jean, Tony's wife, shows up to a bunch of the shows. So we've got a bunch of the videos that are on there actually are thanks to her. We were trying to get a hashtag Vetras Rocks, so anybody who takes pictures or gets videos can share those to the Facebook page.
Good job on video.
Yeah. So she's got a lot of different stuff, and
She might be watching that.
yeah. And the most recent one, I feel bad because like some of the recent videos, I'm kind of hiding off to the side there, but I'm dealing with some back and leg issues, so I'm not moving around. I've actually got my crutch hanging out there on the side.
Oh, okay.
But,
Let's check that video out, Michael. Let's put that up in there. And
Yeah, we've got one. I think that's a Metallica one.
Very nice.
Yeah, this is one that Glenn sings, and I'm maybe partial, but Glenn
This is
kills it.
Glenn's song.
And that's what we're missing today in the podcast is Glenn, right?
We miss you, Glenn.
We struggled with the sound at this gig.
I think it sounds pretty good coming through his headphones.
Well, this is the first show with a new mixer, right? So we were kind of dialing stuff in.
Very nice.
Yeah, I tell you what, one of the cool things, and we're talking about musicians and just playing, and I know that's one of the cool things about, especially playing next to Glenn. I mean, in the rhythm section between Glenn and Tony, it's like forced me to, to be a much better, paying attention more to the rhythm and getting into that groove with those two guys. And I tell you what, that over the last 6 years we've been playing, it's been one of the funnest parts of that is knowing how much the three of us have ended up locking in, which has been really kind of cool.
Yeah, and it just seems like the more gigs you have, the more you start to lock in a little bit tighter, right? You kind of know what the little pieces are that people are going to be playing and where they pick up and that kind of stuff. So
And there was actually one. It was we were talking about playing at Moe's earlier before we started recording, and I remember Glenn and I had driven to the show together, and when we were driving home, he made mention. He's like, "Oh, we had that part, and it was like perfect because it was just a quick hard stop, and then boom, it all came back in. It was just like this split second, and you could almost feel like the audience, like, it's supposed to keep playing, and they're like waiting for it." And we talked about it then at the next rehearsal, and I think I know that I said something like, "Oh yeah," because I kind of goofed up. I missed the change, and I think we all kind of goofed, but we all goofed at the same time, and we all got back into it at the
so
same
it
time.
seemed
So
like it was
it was
intentional.
but it was
We do
really
that a
cool.
lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
When
turned
it's
out really kind of cool the way that it's
So the
Yeah.
philosophy
So-
is if you make a mistake, then do it again, and then it's intentional,
yeah.
and it's not a mistake.
We all screwed up, but we all screwed up together,
Exactly.
and it sounded really cool.
And I think that's, what I had said earlier is playing with other people makes you better because you learn how to recover from a situation like that without stopping the song or, completely getting lost. You just know that you need to recover quickly and you get right back on track.
Yeah.
And if it's done well, the audience doesn't even notice.
Yeah, most of the time they're just looking, they're not going to pay attention to those small things. And, we all do, right? Because we're all musicians. We go see a band, we're watching the guitar and watching the amp. And
Yeah, I don't think there's anyone in this room that has ever said, I played a perfect gig tonight. No mistakes.
right.
No, they happen every show.
Yeah, and that brings me to another good question. So again, you can find them, ladies and gentlemen. You can find them on Facebook. They'll post some dates there, and I think they have an upcoming gig. Is that right, Ron? When do you guys play next? You
We
play pretty
do.
soon.
Next Friday, December 12th at the Stagecoach.
Stagecoach, yeah. So if you guys want to get a chance to go check out the Vetras, go down there, check those guys out. That's in I believe Franktown. Is that
Franktown, yeah.
Franktown? All right.
Corner of 86 and
83.
86 and 83.
Very cool. All right, and
The
then
new Stagecoach.
yeah, the new Stagecoach, renovated anyways, right? And it looks great. Yeah.
They just painted the outside too. It's
Also,
it's a different color. It's gonna have to grow on people.
Yeah. Yeah, if you haven't been there, go check it out. They did some renovations, and it's a really cool place. Good, get some good dinner, hear some good music. So, we were talking a little bit about as a cover band, Vetras. And how are you guys booking gigs right now? Do you guys want to talk a little bit about that? I mean, that will be important for people that are listening on the local vibe as well. And I think that's a question that we all have, right? How do we book gigs, and how do we get busy and that kind of stuff? But
Yeah, I definitely can address that.
Sure.
So again, we've been together for 6 years. And again, as before we started recording, we talked about it, I don't know, 2.5 years before we even started talking about doing gigs. And then we got pretty tight and we decided we, come up with a good band name that was going to work. We liked the military angle that worked. Then the big thing is there's a lot of grinding. You got to really reach out to these venues. You got to be prepared to hear no a lot. One of the things that I do is I try to get a personal relationship with a lot of the venues that, and we end up playing at. The Stagecoach is a good example of that. I spent a lot of time just talking to the guy, even when they were in construction. I stopped in, and then he ultimately reached out to me because he had seen our band play in Elizabeth, and he liked the patriotic angle. Stagecoach is a real patriotic bar. So next thing you know, he's wanting to book us for all of 2026. And, but getting these gigs are not easy at all. So you have to be diligent and you have to really go after it, because if you don't, they're not gonna give you the time of day. And you got to be flexible, right? They want you to play, you got to be able to play. So, and if you don't, they'll give you a pass, maybe once, but that'll be it.
sure.
So you got to really go after it. So find somebody in your band that can communicate with people face to face. Get out there and start playing. And we played for free a lot before we started getting paid gigs. And that's something else that I think helps the band, because we ended up fine-tuning the craft and getting better at what we do. in every part of the band. But once we started getting gigs, like just recently, just last week, there's a bar that we've played at before in Golden a lot. It's a biker bar. It's called Dirty Dogs. Great stage. Booking manager just reached out to me last week, and he's ready to book us for the entire year of 2026 as well.
Very nice. That is awesome, man. Awesome. Congratulations. Yeah, that's a great place. We have not played there yet, but I've heard a lot of great things about that venue.
It's one of the best stages we've played on.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
It's nice. Nice and big. And one of the other things too, I mean, Eddie, we were talking about, we had talked previously about like a shared gig. And I think that's one of the cool things too, is like we all kind of have different connections with other bands, obviously with Iron Philly and some other bands, local bands. So, working on, hey, do you have a contact for those people? Do you have this? So there's networking that goes on there too, and like kind of spreading the word for everybody else, preaching the gospel of rock and roll.
Right. Yeah. And you're right. We've been talking about that too, Sean, our band, because again, we have so many gigs, right? We've been talking about, hey, let's start sharing with some other folks and again, get some exposure out there. And we've all played where we've, done exposure. You don't get paid for gigs and that kind of stuff, just to get your name out there and get people to hear you, but yeah, we'll definitely talk some more about that. And again, for anybody that's listening, local here, that's great. It's always great to share the word, share the knowledge. If you got a contact, hey, I know this place that's booking bands. There's a lot of great people out there. And again, that goes back to my point about the Local Vibe podcast. This podcast in general, it's dedicated to us, right, to our local musicians. And we're going to be sitting here, I tell you what, after 20 episodes, and we're going to say, my gosh, look at all that talent, right, that's just right here in our hands reach. So,
hey,
right.
Eddie, if I could just quick shout out to Atomic X. They're the band that's going to be sharing the stage with us next Friday.
Okay.
It's 4 hours of playing. They're going to play 2 sets. We're going to play 2 sets.
Oh, nice.
And that's a band that, we've known for a long time. They actually hooked our band up into another venue. Again, it's the connections, right? So they were playing at the Pines, put in a good word for us, made contact with the owner. They booked us.
Gotcha.
So
okay,
kind of returning the favor to them.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, thank you guys. And what was the name again of those guys?
Atomic X.
Atomic X. Okay. Yep. Gotcha. All right, awesome. Yep, and then we'll see if we can get them in the studio as well. We'll bring them in here and get them some airtime on YouTube as well. I'll talk to that band. So, all right, awesome, Michael. Let's go to the YouTube comments. Michael, do we have anything that's out there? Maybe any questions for any of the band members that we have?
There's only one person that's been commenting, and is Jean.
Okay,
and she's out there right now.
Who is that? Do we know a Gene?
No,
anybody know Gene?
I don't know a Gene.
Yeah, she's just been giving a lot of support and saying things about, commenting on stuff that, you guys have been talking about.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Gene. Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate that. And again, thank you for supporting local music. Thank you for supporting this channel. Thank you for supporting these guys. They're out there putting in the work, putting on a good performance for everybody. So if you haven't checked them out, get a chance to go take a look at their Facebook. Go see these guys. They're a great patriotic band that's going to give you some great music out there, and you'll have a good time. You got to get on the dance floor. You got to be energized. Get on the dance floor. Definitely want that.
And participation.
Yes.
And one of the other things to keep in mind, I mean, Ron set up, we had the website outside of Facebook, but certainly, people can get in touch with us through Facebook as well. Brandon helped set up a YouTube channel for some of the clips that we've got on there from some of the recordings that we have. So, without, even though you might not have, people commenting and get in touch with like now, there's certainly ways to get in touch with us and certainly reach out. I'm more than happy to get in touch, answer any questions or.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. One of the other things too that we like to do here is show that, right? So Michael, let's get to that screen. I think we saw their Facebook page. There's also a website that we can pull up. And a lot of times, we don't keep up with these websites, but there's some contact information that you could get to. You can get a hold of these guys. And I'm sure you guys do private gigs as well, right? If somebody wants a private gig.
Definitely.
You could do that, or just, if you know of a venue that's up and looking for bands. I've heard that many times before, like, hey, there's a new venue out there. They're looking for bands. Give these guys a shout. Get them out there. And that definitely helps, us cover bands for sure out there to get some more playing time, All right, awesome. All right, well, let me turn it back over to you guys before we're getting really close to wrapping up the show here. But let me turn it back over to you guys, and if you guys got anything else that you want to talk about, or maybe even some shout outs, Ron, I'll start with you. Do you got anything else?
Well, I tell you, I want to say to you, Eddie, thank you, man, for having us. It's really cool that you're supporting the local music scene and giving bands like us an opportunity to come in and talk and tell you about what we do and how we do it. So I want to thank you for that, man. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Thank you for
absolutely.
having us.
Yeah, thank you guys for being here, and yeah, again, that was kind of my vision as I was putting this together. Is hey, I want to dedicate this to all of us and get some more people in here. Brandon.
I don't really have any shout outs, but again, thank you for having us. I think what you're doing here is really cool.
Awesome.
I wish
Yeah,
more
I agree.
people could do it because it's just like a business. You run a little business
Sure.
out of your basement here, and you do a great job. And I'm sure this channel is going to grow. And
Yeah,
in a
yeah.
couple of years, I'm sure you're going to look back, you're going to look at your subscribers and be like, wow, this was worth it.
Right. Yes. Yes, for sure. Yep. And again, just being here in this Mile High City in the Front Range, there's a lot of people here, and music's a big thing here. So yeah, hopefully we'll get there, and we can do this with your help. Anybody that's out there listening, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow the Facebook pages, and support local music. That's another question I always have for everybody is, especially with us bands, how do we support local music? Well, we get out there and we play. That's what we do. We get out there to these venues, and sometimes we don't make a lot of money, but it's not about that. We get out there, and for your entertainment, if you're having a bad day or a bad week and you're out there having a beer and you're listening to some good music, hopefully that turns your week around, and that's what it's all about. Music touches everybody so differently, in many different ways, right? So definitely. All right, awesome. Okay, let me go back to my sponsor video one more time before we end the show. Again, Airport Transportation LLC. All right, awesome. Again, Event and Airport Transportation LLC. Give Ernesto a call, 720-699-1575. Tell him that Fast Eddie sent you, and he's going to hook you up. He's going to get you taken care of, get you to the airport, get you to the ski resorts, or take you to Red Rocks to have a good time, whatever it is you need. He's got some great, beautiful vehicles out there. He's going to hook you up and get you taken care of, all right? All right, awesome, guys. Well, appreciate you guys being here. I also want to show a few more dates that I have here. I got some other podcasts coming up. So next Thursday we'll have Sol Over Luna. They're going to be doing a live performance here at the studio. If you guys haven't heard of them, go out there and check out their Facebook as well. With Carla Vanessa, she'll be here, and the entire band is going to be performing. And then on December 18th, we have Elise with a special guest. Her and her special guests are going to be here as well. And some solo artists talking about some of their music as well. So, all right. Once again, guys, thank you for watching. I appreciate all your support, everything that you guys are doing to support local music. And until next time, you guys stay safe, and we'll see you later. All right.